Such a small word. 3 letters, 1 syllable. You've said it thousands of times without thinking. Yes, yes, yes. It comes out before you've even processed the question, before you've checked your calendar, before you've considered whether you actually want to, before any part of your rational brain has had a chance to weigh in. It's automatic, reflexive, like blinking. And here's the thing nobody ever stops to consider. That tiny, effortless, completely harmless sounding word might be the single most destructive force in your life, not because saying yes is wrong, but because you can't stop. Let's start at the beginning. Not your beginning, the beginning. For the vast majority of human history, we didn't live in cities or suburbs or apartments with deadbolts on the doors. We lived in small groups of around 50 to 150 people, and those groups were everything. They were your food supply, your protection, your medicine, your entire social world. If you got kicked out, you didn't just lose your friend group. You died, alone, exposed, with no one to share the hunt or watch your back at night. So your brain evolved a very simple rule. Keep the group happy. Avoid conflict. Make yourself useful. And when someone asks you for something, anything, say yes. That instinct is still running in you right now. Every time someone makes a request and your chest tightens with the urge to agree, that's not weakness. That's ancient survival code doing exactly what it was designed to do. The problem is, the world it was designed for no longer exists. Your colleague asking you to take on extra work is not a tribal elder. Your friend who always needs a favor is not the person standing between you and the wilderness. But your brain doesn't know that. Your brain just knows disappoint people, get rejected. Get rejected, die. This is the foundation of every yes you've ever regretted. And here's the part that makes it even harder to untangle, because the instinct doesn't just push you to say yes, it makes saying no feel dangerous. Physically dangerous. Your heart rate goes up. Your stomach tightens. Your mind starts running worst-case scenarios at full speed. What if they're upset? What if they think I'm selfish? What if they don't ask me again? These thoughts feel rational. They feel like caution. But what they really are is a 200,000-year-old alarm system misfiring in a world it wasn't built for. Most people think the cost of saying yes is just time. You give up a Saturday. You stay late at the office. You lose a few hours you could have spent on something else. Annoying? Sure, but manageable. The real cost is invisible, and it compounds. A 2019 study by researcher Vanessa Bones at Cornell University found that people dramatically underestimate how much social pressure they exert on others when making a request. The people being asked felt far more pressure to comply than the askers ever realized, which means every time someone asks you for something, they are almost certainly unaware of the weight they're placing on you. They're not being cruel. They just can't see it. And because you say yes warmly, without complaint, they never will. So the resentment stays inside you. Quiet, private. That's the first cost. Resentment. The slow accumulation of moments where you needed something and gave it away instead. Where you had plans that disappeared because someone else had a problem. Where you smiled and said, of course, and then went home and felt inexplicably hollow. The second cost is harder to name. It's identity erosion. When you're always the one who says yes, people stop seeing you as a full person with your own needs and start seeing you as a resource. And the terrifying thing, the thing that should genuinely unsettle you, is that eventually, so do you. You start to define yourself by your usefulness to others. You start to feel guilty when you're not helping. You start to feel like existing without serving some purpose for someone else is somehow selfish. That's not a personality trait. That's a trap. And there's a third cost that almost nobody talks about. The things that never happen. The project you didn't start. The relationship you didn't invest in. The version of your life you kept deferring because you were too busy funding everyone else's. Every yes to someone else is a no to something that matters to you. You just never hear it because no one asks for it out loud. Think about that for a second. The life you actually want isn't being blocked by bad luck or bad timing or a lack of opportunity. It's being quietly crowded out by everyone else's requests, one yes at a time. Well, now you're probably thinking, I know all this. I know I should say no more. I've been telling myself that for years, and yet there's a reason it doesn't change with information alone. People-pleasing isn't a decision, it's a pattern, and patterns don't care about your intentions. Psychologists have traced chronic people-pleasing back to something called fawn response, a survival mechanism first described by therapist Pete Walker that sits alongside fight, flight, and freeze. When a child grows up in an environment where conflict is dangerous, where love feels conditional, where approval must be earned, they learn that the safest strategy is to become whatever the room needs them to be. Keep everyone calm, keep everyone happy, keep everyone around. That strategy keeps you safe as a child, it becomes a cage as an adult. And the cruelest part is that you built it yourself, one yes at a time with nothing but good intentions, and you've been living inside it so long it stopped feeling like a cage at all. It just feels like you. The trap has a particular cruelty to it. When you say yes all the time, people like you more in the short term. They find you agreeable, helpful, helpful, easy to be around. So the behavior gets rewarded constantly. Every thank you reinforces it. Every time conflict is avoided, your nervous system relaxes with relief. The lesson your brain takes from all of this is, it worked. Do it again. Meanwhile, the resentment grows. The hollowness deepens. And because you're so focused on managing everyone else's emotional state, nobody, including you, is managing yours. There's one more layer here worth sitting with. People pleasers are often the warmest, most generous people in the room. They are genuinely kind, but there's a shadow version of that kindness that's worth examining. Sometimes the yes isn't really about the other person at all. Sometimes it's about you, about needing them to think well of you, about not being able to tolerate the uncertainty of how they'll react if you say no. In that sense, people-pleasing can be a form of control, a way of managing the narrative, keeping everyone's opinion of you safely positive. That doesn't make you a bad person, it makes you human, but it's worth knowing the difference between generosity and self-protection wearing generosity's clothes. So what do you actually do with this? The first thing to understand is that this is not a mindset problem. You don't need to believe in yourself more or find your inner confidence. You need to slowly, deliberately practice tolerating the discomfort that comes with disappointing someone, because that discomfort is the real obstacle. Not fear of conflict exactly, fear of the feeling that comes with it, the hot flush of guilt, the urge to immediately backtrack and fix it. Start smaller than you think you need to. Don't begin by turning down your boss or ending a draining relationship. Start by pausing before you answer. Just pausing. Someone asks you something. Instead of the automatic yes, you say, "Let me check and get back to you." That's it. Not a no. Just a deliberate delay. Just enough space to ask yourself whether you actually want to do this or whether you're just avoiding the feeling of not doing it. Then graduate slowly. Say no to low-stakes things first. The group chat plan you weren't excited about. The optional extra at work. The favor that's convenient for them and genuinely inconvenient for you. Notice what happens. Notice that the friendship doesn't end. Notice that the world doesn't collapse. Notice that most people, when you decline, simply adjust. Most of the social catastrophe you've been bracing for your entire life, the fallout, the rejection, the damaged relationships, exists almost entirely in your head. The fear is real. The consequences usually aren't. Because here's the reframe that changes everything, and it's one most people have never actually internalized. You are not responsible for other people's emotional reactions to your boundaries. You are responsible for being honest, being kind, and being fair. Everything beyond that belongs to them, not you. And slowly, over time, something else happens. The people around you recalibrate. They start to understand that your yes actually means yes. That when you show up for someone, it's because you chose to, not because you couldn't figure out how to leave. And that kind of yes, that's worth something. To them and to you. So here you are, back where we started. That tiny little word. The easiest thing in the world to say. Except now you know what it actually is. It's not kindness. It's not generosity. It's not even politeness most of the time. It's a 200,000-year-old survival reflex that was never designed for the life you're living. It was designed for a world where the tribe could kill you, not for a world where your colleague needs someone to cover a Tuesday shift. You're not going to stop saying yes. That's not the point. The point is to notice, really notice, the moment before it happens. That split second where your chest tightens and the word rises automatically and you let it go without asking whether you meant it. That's the moment. Right there. Tiny. Easy to miss. That's where your life is actually being decided. Not in the big moments, not in the dramatic turning points you always imagined would define you. In the tiny ones. The ones that sound like yes.